Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hello everyone, how's life? Today I've got my laptop here with me and we are going to do something that quite a lot of you requested of me a long time ago and still ask of me to do. I don't think anyone's actually done this on YouTube as far as I've checked. Not in English anyway. I've watched a couple of French-speaking YouTubers do this and one German YouTuber. I've not seen an English one. So, as you might have seen from the title of this video, I am finally going to do a Disneyland Paris attractions tier list. My first ever tier list video on this channel. If you all enjoy it, I might do more of them with other stuff. But without further ado, let's start. So we've got 5 tiers, as you can see, going up from phenomenal, really cool, decent enough, meh, and WTF. I thought that was apt, you know, phenomenal is the ultimate best, of course. The attractions were all chosen already, like I didn't choose these. I just used an already made Disneyland Paris attractions template, so hopefully all of them are going to be there. I've actually gone through these, and one of the attractions, I don't even know what it is. Like, it doesn't look like an attraction to me, but we're going to get to that in a second. I have put the attractions in order though, so we're going to go land by land, which should be exciting. Yeah. Let's start with the first one. So the first one here is Snow White. This is in Fantasyland, and fun fact for you, about 5 years ago I actually got a job offer to work at Disneyland Paris and work on this specific attraction, the Snow White attraction in Fantasyland. For various reasons, unfortunately, I had to decline the job offer, but yeah, I could have been a cast member on this ride. Snow White's a cool ride, you know. I like it. I don't think it's phenomenal by any means. It's definitely not really cool either. I would say decent enough. Let's go for that for now. Next we have the Carousel of Lancelot. I really like this attraction. It's really cute. It's a staple piece of Fantasyland and Disneyland Paris. I think it makes Fantasyland look really beautiful. I'm not gonna lie though, I don't go on it too often. I think I only really go on it if I'm there with some friends and we feel like we've done almost everything else and it's just something cute for us to do. So we're gonna put it decent enough as well for now. Next we have Dumbo. Now Dumbo, I would say, is probably one of my favorite attractions in Fantasyland. It's a classic, right? Ever since I was a child, I would always think of Dumbo when it came to Disneyland Paris. Do I go on it often? No, but it's such a staple piece of the parks that, you know what, we're gonna have to put Dumbo in the really cool pit. Next we have the Teacups. Again, the Teacups I think look absolutely beautiful in Disneyland Paris. They're the most beautiful teacups in all the Disney parks I've been to. Especially at nighttime, they look stunning, but I don't personally like spinning rides, and I don't know, they can be really fun though. Like if you enjoy that kind of vibe when you go on rides of spinning and stuff, you would enjoy them. So I'm tempted to put them in the really cool category, but part of me just can't do it, I'm afraid. So we're gonna just have to go with decent enough. By the way, I would love to hear your opinions on these as well, so feel free to leave comments down below as I'm doing this. The more comments, the more opinions, the better, because I just enjoy talking about Disneyland Paris. Next we have Alice's Labyrinth, again in Fantasyland. I have some great memories of this attraction from when I was younger. One time my brother and I actually got lost and my uncle had to come and look for us, and it was the funniest thing. And when my uncle actually finally found us, he then couldn't get us out, so it took him ages to find us, bless him. And then he was lost, like he couldn't get us out, and my parents were just worried outside the labyrinth. I'm gonna put Labyrinth in decent enough though, because it's one of those things I feel like if you do once, you've kind of done it. I very rarely go in it these days, but it's a phenomenal place if you want to get some nice shots, especially when you go up the castle in the labyrinth. You get some beautiful views of Fantasyland and the parks generally. It's a cute thing. It's definitely decent enough. Next we have Peter Pan. Now Peter Pan, it's an interesting one. I do think Peter Pan, of all the Peter Pans that I've been on around the different Disney parks, is the best here in Disneyland Paris. It's probably because it's the most recently renovated. It was renovated a few years ago, and nowadays it just looks stunning when you go on it. I do think it's quite overrated, you know. I would put it in really cool, but I don't know, I can't. I have to be honest and just put it in decent enough. I'm really sorry. I know Peter Pan has a lot of fans. We might change this later on. We're gonna have a look at all of this at the end as well and see if there's any changes that need to be done. It's a Small World is the next attraction. Oh, look how beautiful it looks. Even in this tiny little square, it still looks stunning. So I think there's no surprise that I'm gonna put It's a Small World in the phenomenal category. Yes, we have our very first phenomenal attraction. It's a Small World in Disneyland Paris is definitely phenomenal. Having been on various different It's a Small Worlds around the world, I can guarantee you the Paris one is the absolute best, closely followed by the one in Disneyland California, but Paris still remains the most magical. The song itself, just the vibrant colors, everything about it is beautiful, and I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, you are simply wrong. Next we have Pei de Conte Faire. This is the boat attraction in Fantasyland. It's in a pretty hidden part of Fantasyland. Not many people even know it's there, but it's a cute ride. You know, it's not one that I would go on a lot. In fact, again, this is one of the rides I only really ever go on if I'm there with friends and we've done almost everything else and we're just kind of walking around with not much to do and we're like, oh, this hasn't got much of a queue, should we just go on it for a nice sit down? It is really cute, don't get me wrong. It's a cute attraction, but I'm just gonna be honest, guys, this is a meh one. Sorry. Quite similar to that, next we have Casey Jr., which is the train ride. This is slightly more fun, I guess, than the boat ride. I don't know. I've been on Casey Jr. even fewer times than I have on the Pei de Conte Faire boat ride. I think I've only been on Casey Jr. in Disneyland Paris like once or twice. Let's go with twice. But on the boat ride I've been on more, and it's probably because I actually enjoy the boat ride a bit more because it's actually relaxing, and the nice music that comes around, and if there's nice weather as well, can be quite relaxing. Whereas Casey Jr. is a fun ride. It's quite short. You do still get to see some of the similar stuff that you see on the boat ride, but like if you wanted something fast and exciting, you would just go on a roller coaster like Thunder Mountain. I don't know. I'm gonna have to put this in the meh category again, I'm afraid. Right, next we have Pinocchio, which is another dark ride situated in Fantasyland. From experience and from what we've seen so far, all of these movie dark rides I've put in the decent enough category, and I feel like Pinocchio might be the same. Although I'm gonna be honest, if I had to choose between Pinocchio, Snow White and Peter Pan, Pinocchio is probably my favorite one of the dark rides in Disneyland Paris. I just find it more fun. It probably could also be because I just really enjoy Pinocchio as a film. It brings back a lot of terrifying memories from my childhood, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, Pinocchio is probably my favorite of the three similar attractions in Fantasyland, but ultimately I still don't think I can put it in the really cool category, so we're just gonna have to go with decent enough. Right, that's one whole land covered now. We have now moved on to Discoveryland, which is a really cool land in Disneyland Paris, and the first attraction we have here is Buzz Lightyear. This is a hard one for me because I do really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, but it's also very frustrating because I'm really bad at it. I don't think I've ever really won. I might have won once or twice, but it was only because I went against like someone who was even worse than me. My mom has won this attraction against me many a time, so like how am I that bad? I don't understand. No offense, mom, but I do really love it. I think it's really cool. The effects are great. It's just a very fun attraction. I love Toy Story, honestly. I just enjoy looking at the stuff when I'm in there, even if I'm really bad at shooting. And to be honest, it's given me a lot of fun memories at Disneyland Paris because from there with a friend, it's always fun to kind of get competitive, and they always laugh at me being so bad. So I'm gonna put this in the really cool category for now. We might have to move it down later on, but I think for now I'm okay with it being the really cool category. Okay, next we have Nautilus. I believe that's what it's called anyway. This is a walkthrough attraction in Discoveryland. I've only done this once, I believe, and it was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a cool attraction, right? Like the one time I did it, I must have done it actually 1.5 times because I remember being in there more than once. But anyway, the first time I went in there, I was pretty amazed. Like it was pretty cool. It's based on like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Jules Verne story. You get to meet Captain Nemo and see some cool effects, I guess. It is fun. It's definitely something fun to do if you have nothing else to do in Disneyland Paris. I wouldn't say this is like a must-do attraction by any means. We're gonna put it in the meh category. Next, we have Orbitron. Now I really enjoy Orbitron actually. I think it might be my favorite of those kind of flying rides. We have quite a few of them in all the Disney parks. It is really fun. It goes really fast. I think it might be the highest one as well. And Discoveryland and Disneyland Paris, in my opinion, looks so beautiful, especially if you go on this at night time. You get some phenomenal views of Discoveryland. I do really enjoy it, so I'm gonna have to put this in really cool. Okay, next we have Autopia, which is a cute attraction for me because it brings back a really fun memory from when I went on it with my friend Eddie back in 2016. It was one of the only rides that I hadn't been on as an adult in Disneyland Paris, and the only reason I hadn't been on it is because it normally has really long queues and they don't do fast passes. And back in 2016, I think it might have been my September trip, so you can watch the vlog from it if you want to. My friend Eddie and I ended up meeting this really lovely cast member who for some reason really enjoyed us and wanted to give us a fast pass to any attraction that we wanted. Disneyland Paris cast members honestly are so lovely. So yeah, this cast member, we ended up chatting to her somehow and she enjoyed our conversation for whatever reason, and she said that she wanted to offer us a fast pass. So both of us straight away were like, can we have it for Autopia? Because like I said, Autopia in Disneyland Paris doesn't normally have fast passes. You can't get a fast pass for it, but because this cast member was offering us a fast pass to any attraction, it was completely up to her. She just got out a piece of fast pass and wrote down whatever attraction we wanted and gave us a fast pass. And actually the reason that she gave it to us as well, I'll see if I can find the photo of it, but she said the reason that she gave us this fast pass was because we were really nice or like really kind or something like that. So it just brings like really nice memories. But having said all this, it's definitely not one of my favorite attractions. I definitely don't think it's that exciting. I'm not the biggest fan of driving anyway. I can't drive, in fact, so I guess it's fun for kids, but I'm gonna have to put it in the meh category, I'm afraid. Right, next we have a slightly newer attraction in Disneyland Paris, and that is PhilharMagic. They brought this over from Disney World back in, I want to say 2017 or 18. I think it might have been 17 for the 25th anniversary. I really love PhilharMagic. I love it in Disney World and I love it in Disneyland Paris. It's a little bit different in Disneyland Paris, not just because of the language, but like they've actually kind of improved the visuals a little bit, and the effects that you get as well are slightly different. You get more wet in Disney World's Magic Kingdom, but in Disneyland Paris you feel the movements in your seats more just because of the way that cinema is laid out, because previously they had other stuff in it. I can't say which one I prefer, but I do just generally love PhilharMagic, so we're gonna have to give it a really cool category for now anyway. Again, things could always change. Okay, next we have Space Mountain, or Hyperspace Mountain as it's called now. That's the big one. That's definitely the biggest attraction in Discoveryland. I really love it. I think it's a fantastic ride. It's definitely the best Space Mountain of all the Space Mountains that I've been been on. It's so cool, and I've been lucky enough to have been on this ride so many times. I've experienced the different versions of it, from the very first Space Mountain, then on to like Space Mountain Mission 2, and now Hyperspace Mountain. I think I did prefer it when it was Mission 2 because the effects were cooler, but the seats now, like the ride itself, is so smooth. Ever since they updated it for Hyperspace Mountain, it's just a really smooth ride. Don't get me wrong, it can still be a bit bumpy and you still get a headache sometimes, but it's much smoother than it used to be. So I really like it, but I don't love it enough to put it in the phenomenal category. It's really hard because I'm just not sure if this is equal to like Dumbo and Buzz, but we're gonna put it in the really cool category for now. We might have to move Dumbo down a bit later on, I'm not gonna lie. Next, we have Aladdin's Passageway. So now we've moved on to Adventureland. Yay, we're literally going through the different lands of Disneyland Park. Yeah, this passageway is really cute. It's a really fun little thing to do. It probably takes about 10 minutes max. It's a walk-through attraction again, so you don't have to queue up normally. And there's some cute things in there, especially if you're a big fan of Aladdin, you are gonna enjoy it. And it's right at the entrance of Adventureland. A lot of people miss out on it. A lot of people don't even realize it's an attraction. But Disneyland Paris is notorious for having quite a lot of walk-through attractions, and that's something I love about Disneyland Paris. And yeah, this is definitely a good one. I'm gonna put this in the decent enough category because I definitely do prefer this to Nautilus. Okay, next we have Indiana Jones Temple of Peril. Fun fact, this ride used to go backwards. When it first opened Disneyland Paris, it was the first ever roller coaster in any Disney park that would go backwards. I remember seeing it when it had first opened many years ago. I was in Disneyland Paris on holiday with my family and my uncle and his family, and I was too scared to go on it back then, but I got my uncle to go on it, and I vividly remember him coming off it and being like, oh my god, that was terrifying, that was so cool. And my cousin and I were just in awe of the whole attraction. But yeah, I've been on it many times since. Unfortunately, it no longer goes backwards, it just goes upside down. It is a very, very fun coaster, very thrilling, really smooth, really exciting. I think the theming is pretty cool as well for this attraction. I'm not the biggest fan of Indiana Jones though, generally, and I do think that the roller coaster is quite short. Like, I feel like it's not special enough. Do you get what I'm saying? If you compare that to like Space Mountain or Big Thunder Mountain, this one has something missing, and I can't tell you what it is. To me, it just feels like quite a generic roller coaster, even though the theming is pretty cool. I think it's just the fact that it's quite short, and yeah, I just don't know if it's worth queuing up for. I very rarely go on this. This is one of the rides that I only ever really go on if I'm there with a friend who really wants to go on it. Shout out to my friend Rebecca, she does enjoy this ride quite a lot. So we're gonna put this in the decent enough category because it's a decent coaster, it's a decent ride for sure. Just nothing too special in my opinion. Right, we now have, in my opinion, the best attraction in Adventureland, which of course is Pirates of the Caribbean. One of the best rides of all time. I absolutely love this ride. The smell that you get as you enter the queue of this ride, the chlorine smell. And honestly, I genuinely do believe again that Disneyland Paris' Pirates of the Caribbean ride is the best of all the Disney parks out there, apart from Shanghai's. Shanghai's Pirates of the Caribbean ride is amazing, like out of this world phenomenal. If you want to watch my vlog from Shanghai Disneyland, by the way, I was very lucky to be there for its grand opening back in 2016, and I got to go on their version of Pirates twice. It was the only ride that my dad and I went on twice because we loved it so much. It is so cool. So I will admittedly say Shanghai's Pirates is better than Paris's, but Shanghai's Pirates is just quite different as well. It's a lot more modern. When you're comparing Disneyland Paris' Pirates of the Caribbean with, for instance, Florida's or California's, Disneyland Paris' is definitely better. The story's better, it has more drops, it just feels smoother, it's a lot more exciting, the photo bit is really cool. It's just better, right? Like, it's a really, really good ride. And I promise you, if you're someone who's only used to the one in Florida or California, once you come and try Disneyland Paris' Pirates, you'll realize that it's a lot better. So this is definitely going right next to It's a Small World in the highest category of phenomenal. All right, next we have the Swiss family treehouse thing, the Cabane de Robinson. This is again a staple attraction of many Disney parks. I think in Florida they have Tarzan's perhaps, or it might be California that has Tarzan's treehouses in California, I believe, and then they have the same thing in Florida's Magic Kingdom. It's not an attraction that I enjoy much. I very rarely go on it. Again, it's one of those situations where I only go on it when I have nothing else to do and I'm just walking around in Adventureland thinking, why not just go up this tree? It is really fun though, and it can be very fun, especially for kids. It's something to do. You get to climb up a tree house. There's stuff to do on there as well, up on the tree. You get nice views of the park as well. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to put it in the meh category. We haven't had a single WTF yet, which is cool. Maybe I'm just too nice and don't want to put anything in there, I don't know. Okay, next we have the animation studio in Walt Disney Studios. We've now actually moved on to Walt Disney Studios because I thought we might need a bit of a break from Disneyland Park. Go into Walt Disney Studios for a bit and then we'll go back to Disneyland Park and do the other rides. Okay, so this is one of the first buildings that you see when you enter Walt Disney Studios. There's been so many different things in this building over the years. I've experienced some really cool things in there. They used to have one of my personal favorite attractions in there, which was like a film that you would see, and it was just beautiful. It will take you through the history of animation with Walt Disney and everything. They don't do that anymore, but they still have a lot of cool things inside this building. Some character meets as well. Normally Olaf's recently been meeting there. They actually normally put the most recent like character, the coolest character in that building for people to go and meet. They also still do have a lot of cool animation things for you to have a look at. Like, it almost feels like a museum going in there. I do really like it, but do I think it's like phenomenal? No, it's not really cool either. I would say it's decent enough. So animation studio, you are going right next to Indiana Jones. Okay, next we have the Cars attraction, which I'm pretty sure is currently actually being renovated into something else. I don't know what they're doing with it exactly, but it's under refurbishment right now. I've been on this a couple of times and it's fun. It's just, I don't know. I don't really enjoy it, I'm not gonna lie. In fact, I think I might be tempted to put this in the WTF category. Sorry. It's not a bad ride, but it's just a bit uncomfortable. It's quite short. You go on these little cars from the movie Cars and you just spin around and you don't even have control over them. They spin them for you. I've already said I'm not a fan of spinning rides. It's even worse when I can't control them, and I don't even like Cars as a movie, so yeah, sorry. Okay, we've moved on to Toy Story Playland now. We have got RC Racer, which in my opinion is actually a really good ride. Quite underrated as well. A lot of people don't bother going on this. My only problem with this ride is that it's quite short. I wish it was a bit longer. It's basically like a really huge pirate ride, you know what I mean? Like those boats that just go like this in like regular theme parks, but this is an extreme version of it that basically goes like this. It's pretty scary, not for the faint-hearted. Don't go on this if you don't like the feeling of being dropped. I actually think this is probably scarier than Tower of Terror, but I love thrill rides and I think this is great. Obviously I love Toy Story as well, so it just feels awesome being on this, and genuinely quite scary at times. Sit on the back row if you want the ultimate thrill. It's such a great ride. I do really love it, but I don't think it's phenomenal, so we're going to put this in the really cool category. Okay, next we have the parachute ride in Toy Story Playland. So this is also a really fun ride, not as cool as RC Racer, and it normally actually has the longest queue of all the rides in Toy Story Playland, probably because it's the kind of ride that families can do, like anyone can do, and especially if you like thrill rides but you don't want to do something extreme like Tower of Terror, this can be like an introduction for you to bigger rides. I honestly sometimes think this is even scarier than Tower of Terror because your feet are actually dangling, but the drop isn't as extreme and it is definitely a ride that is more suitable to children than Tower of Terror perhaps. I do like it. It can be a lot of fun, especially if you go with your friends, and you do get some really cool views of Toy Story Playland and Walt Disney Studios when you're up there. We are going to put this in the decent enough category. Next we have Slinky Dog. This is definitely the least popular ride in Toy Story Playland. Bit ironic because this same ride in Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios is one of my favorite rides of all time, but it's because it's very different there. It's an actual roller coaster there, whereas Slinky Dog in Disneyland Paris is just a ride that just spins, right? It's a great family ride. You're on Slinky, it just goes round and round, and it can actually be kind of fun again if you go with friends. I've been on it maybe a total of 3 times and it's fun, but it's not even relaxing. Like, I can't even recommend it for you to go and relax on because it's actually kind of stressful when like you keep going like this when you're on it, so you can't relax. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put this in the WTF category, and I feel awful. I genuinely do think it's a bit of a WTF ride. Like, what's the point of it? I understand that kids might enjoy it, but it just doesn't do much. Like, it just goes round and round. What's the point? I do love you, Slinky, though, so if you're watching, Slinky, it's nothing against you. Love you. Okay, now we have moved on to don't know why I'm laughing. I think this might be the Studio Tram Tour. I have no idea how old this little tier list thing is. Like I said, I didn't choose these pictures, but pretty sure this is meant to be the Studio Tram Tour, which also is currently being renovated, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to come back in the same format that it used to be. But I like the Studio Tram Tour, right? I have some great memories of it. I remember vividly the very first time I went on it. I remember vividly when Walt Disney Studios first opened, because for most of my childhood visits to Disneyland Paris, we only had one park. Only Disneyland Park was open back then. I know I'm showing you my age, but yeah, most of my childhood memories just belong in Disneyland Park. So I remember that first trip back when we went there and Disney Studios had opened for the first time, and back then Walt Disney Studios only had like 2 or 3 attractions, and the Studio Tram Tour was one of the few attractions that they had. This would have been back in 2001 perhaps, 2001 or 2002. I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I remember on that trip it was me again, my family and my uncle and my cousin and stuff, and we were all so amazed by this Studio Tram Tour. The fire elements, everything, we were just literally in awe of the whole situation. We couldn't believe it. But having been on it as an adult several times, I don't think it's that cool. I feel like it is probably a little bit outdated as well and needs renovations for sure. It was something that was cool back in the early noughties, okay? In the 2000 era, it was really cool. Is it that exciting anymore? No. So I'm afraid we're gonna have to put it in the meh category, and it It does pain me a little bit because I do remember how excited I was by it when I first went on it many years ago. Okay, next we have Crush's Coaster. This is going to be a bit of a controversial situation because I'm just not the biggest fan of this ride. It's a personal thing. I think it's just because of the fact that it spins. It doesn't spin too much, like I don't feel too sick when I go on it, but I don't go on this ride too often. Part of it again is because this ride doesn't do fast passes, so the only way to go on it is if you go single rider or just queue up, and the queues for this are normally very, very long. The annoying thing is that single rider is normally pretty long as well, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's a fun ride, right? But I just don't know, like I feel like I want to put this in decent enough, and I know a lot of people are going to be annoyed because for a lot of people Crush's Coaster is one of the best things about Walt Disney Studios, but I'm gonna have to be honest, I just don't think it's that great. And it's weird to me because I love Finding Nemo, I love the characters in this, and the queue for this ride is actually really, really fun. So even though this ride normally has really long queues, it's fun to be in the line for this because there's a lot to look at. There's actually a game that you can play on your phone as well. It is a really cool ride. It's a mix between like a dark ride and a roller coaster, and the characters are there and it spins and like you can go backwards at times, and honestly it is really fun. I feel bad, I'm trying to justify this. If I could add a new category in between really cool and decent enough, I would probably put it there, but I'm just gonna have to go with my guts and put this in decent enough. I'm really sorry, please don't hate me, it's just my personal preference. Okay, next we have the Aladdin Carpets, another ride that is just everywhere. They have this in Florida as well, in the Magic Kingdom. This is a fun ride, I've had some good memories on it. Very similar kind of mechanics as Dumbo or Orbitron. The one cool thing about this ride though is that it kind of does this little wavy bit when you're on the carpet, so as well as you spinning up and flying, you also do this thing. It's a cool ride, I do enjoy it, but I don't like it as much as I like Dumbo or Orbitron, so we're gonna have to put this right next to Crush in the decent enough category. Wow, I feel like quite a lot of these rides are just decent enough. Lord have mercy. Okay, we have now moved on to Hollywood's Tower of Terror, which is by far my favorite ride in Walt Disney Studios. I think it's incredible. The theming is phenomenal. The cast members that work on Tower of Terror in Disneyland Paris are some of the best cast members in any Disney park, honestly. I've been on Tower of Terror in Disney World and Disneyland California as well before it got changed, and the cast members over there in America just aren't as in character as they are in Paris. In Paris they are so good. They like enjoy scaring you. They are constantly in character. I've honestly had some of my best cast member interactions in Tower of Terror, and most of my friends would say the same. Any of my friends that I've been on Tower of Terror with, they've all said that like the cast members really make it. I also do believe that Tower of Terror just as a ride is better here than it is in Florida. I think it's scarier. I think the sequences are a lot scarier and the vibe just feels better in Paris. It is so good. One of my favorite things about this ride actually is that because there's different sequences, it never feels the same. Like even if you've been on it millions of times, you still can't predict which sequence you're gonna get. And recently for the past few years, Disneyland Paris has done this thing where during the Halloween season they do like an overlay in it, and it becomes even more terrifying. There's like a kid in there that talks to you, and oh my god, terrifying stuff. So this is definitely a phenomenal ride. Yay, we've got 3 rides now in the phenomenal category. Okay, let's keep going. So Stitch Live, this is also in Walt Disney Studio, and I actually think this is a really, really fun attraction. I remember the first time I visited this attraction was on my 21st birthday trip with my family. My brother really loved Stitch, so we just spotted this and went inside, and we were so amazed by the whole situation. It's very much a family attraction, like kids would definitely love this, especially if they love Stitch, but I think it can be quite cute and charming for adults as well. I'm gonna have to admit it's not an attraction that I visit regularly, but if I have a friend there with me or like a family member, especially if they have kids, I feel like it's definitely a fun attraction to visit. So we are going to put this in the decent enough category. Okay, we have now reached another really, really good ride, and that is Ratatouille. Oh my god, this ride, guys. I know this ride is about to open in Walt Disney World as well in Epcot, and if you're one of my American viewers watching, you are in for a treat. This ride is incredible. Again, with this ride I was lucky enough to be there for its grand opening back in July of 2014. I have a whole vlog of that as well. I remember how crazy it was, that whole experience of being there for when the ride first opened. I've been on this ride so many times and it never fails to amaze me. I love Ratatouille as a film. It's one of my favorite Pixar films, I'd say, and this ride is just incredible. The technology used in it, the effects, the music, the smells as well. It's just such a great ride, and it's a ride that everyone can do. Like, it's a family ride, although yes, I guess if you get motion sick, maybe not for you, but I am prone to getting motion sickness and I'm normally fine on Ratatouille. For the most part, I think it should be fine for anyone, and it is just such a beautiful, charming ride, like a staple piece of Walt Disney Studios for sure, and for that reason it's definitely going in the phenomenal category. Okay, the next ride, I believe, I can't work it out, but I think this is meant to be Rock and Roller, but like the new version version, so I think they might have used a new concept art for it because it's being turned into a Marvel themed coaster, like an Iron Man coaster, I believe. If I'm wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments, but this is just how I'm thinking when I'm looking at this photo. It looks like Rock and Roller, but the newer version that hasn't reopened just yet. Just a quick note here to say that I realized that I was actually wrong and that this is in fact meant to be Star Tours and not the new version of Aerosmith. Shout out to my friend Rebecca for pointing this out to me. So yeah, Star Tours, not the new Iron Man coaster. And I think I'd probably put Star Tours one level below what I put Rock and Roller Coaster. So just pretend that it's in the decent enough tier rather than the cool one. But yeah, I'm gonna have to put this in the really cool category. Not quite phenomenal, but definitely cool enough. Okay, the next thing we have here looks to be the little train that goes around Disneyland Park. It's got different stations in the different lands of Disneyland Park, and it's a cute attraction. Not one I go on often. It's actually often closed. I think they were working to renovate it for a long time. It's open now though, I believe. I mean, I say it's open now. Disneyland Paris as a whole is currently closed, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, but you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure the last time I visited it was open. It's a cute attraction, right? Kids would enjoy it, and if you're having a long day in the parks and you just want a bit of a sit down and can't be bothered to actually walk from a land to another land, it can be quite a cute thing to go on. And my favorite thing about it actually is that it goes through the It's a Small World queue in Fantasyland, and normally people waiting in the queue for It's a Small World tend to wave at you, and it's one of my favorite things to do. When I'm in the It's a Small World queue in Disneyland Paris, I always wave at the train that goes past. But I don't think it's anything exciting, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to put it in the meh category because it's cute, it's charming, but is it anything special? No, sorry. I know Walt really liked trains, and I'm not blaming the guy. I like trains as well, just don't think this is as good as some of the other rides. Okay, next we have the dragon, which is in the castle. One of the coolest things about Disneyland Paris' castle is that you can go and meet Maleficent, the dragon, in the castle, and it's an incredible animatronic. So cool, quite terrifying actually. I really enjoy it, but again, it's one of those things where once you've done it once, I don't think it's quite as exciting the second time. The kids will love it. Like, kids would be so amazed by this. So I'm gonna put this in the decent enough category right next to Stitch. Then we have this really weird attraction. I wouldn't even call this an attraction, I'm afraid, but you know, somebody else has made this list, so we're gonna go with it. It's one of those like trolleys or little car things on Main Street USA. Pretty sure every Main Street USA has one of these, and I mean, they're very cute. I've been on them quite a few times. They just take you from the top of Main Street to the other side of Main Street. It can be a fun way to go around Main Street if you're bored of walking or you just want a different method of going. I don't know, it is cute, but I'm gonna put it in the meh category. It's not quite WTF because I do actually see the charm in it. Like, I see why it's cute and I would go on it every now and again, but it's just a meh thing at the end of the day, isn't it? Although, having said that, if you've never been on one of them, I would say try it. It's just a nice and different way to go to the castle, and it can enhance your experience sometimes. If you've walked up to the castle many times in your life, might as well try it this way around. Drive up to the castle. And now we have gone to the final land in Disneyland Park, which is Frontierland, one of my favorite lands in Disneyland Paris, quite an underrated one, I think. So the first ride we have here is Phantom Manor, Disneyland Paris's version of the Haunted Mansion. I really like Phantom Manor. I think it's really cool. However, I think I do prefer Haunted Mansion over in Florida, so it's not one of my favorites, but I think it looks really awesome from the outside. It probably is the best looking of the Haunted Mansions from the outside. It just looks so terrifying and creepy in Disneyland Paris, and it's a good ride. Like, it's a good ride, but just not one of my favorites. So we're gonna put this in the really cool category right next to Aerosmith. Next we have the Molly Brown boat in Frontierland, which is really close to Phantom Manor actually. This is a cool ride. I've been on it maybe twice or 3 times. It's again one of those things that you would do if you have nothing else to do and you just want a nice relaxing boat ride with some nice scenery, and it can be fun. Is it a phenomenal ride? No. Is it really cool? Not really. Is it decent enough? I'm afraid I'm gonna say it's actually quite a meh ride, so sorry. Okay, we're on the final 2 rides, and I'm not gonna lie, I spent ages trying to figure out what this second to last ride is. I wouldn't even call this an attraction, but I think, shout out to my friend Rebecca for giving me her opinions as well, this just looks like part of Frontierland, like the entrance of Frontierland perhaps, like the fort bit. I think you can go up it and maybe just see a bit of Frontierland from it. I don't really understand why this is here though. I just don't think this is an attraction, but they've put it here and I'm so WTF'd by it that I'm actually going to put it in the WTF category, because what the hell is this? Like, this is not an attraction. It's a cute part of Frontierland, but is it an attraction? No. And finally, we have probably my favorite ride of all time. Big Thunder Mountain is looking beautiful here, and of course it's going to go in the phenomenal ride section of the tier list. There you go, we have it all, and I think I'm happy with this. You know, I'm just gonna have a final look. So in the phenomenal category we have It's a Small World, Pirates of the Caribbean, Tower of Terror, Ratatouille, and Big Thunder Mountain. That makes sense to me. These are actually my 5 favorite rides in Disneyland Paris, so there you go, my top favorite rides. In the really cool category we've got Dumbo, Buzz, Orbitron, Philharmagic, Space Mountain, RC Racer, Aerosmith, Phantom Manor. I'm pretty okay with that. Decent enough is our biggest category. We've got Snow White, the Carousel, Teacups, the Labyrinth, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Aladdin's Passageway, Indiana Jones, the Animation Studios, the Parachutes, Crush. I'm really sorry about Crush again, guys. Just had to be done. Aladdin's Carpets, Stitch Live, and the Dragon in the Castle. And then in the meh category, we have the Pei de Conte Faire, the Boat Ride, Casey Jr., Nautilus, Topia, Swiss Family Robinson's Treehouse, Studio Tour, the Train, the Random Trolley thing, and Molly Brown's Boat. And then in the WTF category, we have the Cars Ride, Slinky Dog, and this random attraction that apparently is important enough to be included. Okay, this is it. I'm pretty happy with this. Let me know if you agree with my tier list though. I'm sure a lot of you are going to have different opinions, so I'm ready to listen to whatever you have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you enjoyed this video, because I can easily do more of these kind of videos with other Disney things, like maybe Pixar films or just Disney princess films. There's loads I can do, especially at a time like this where I can't leave my house. We're all in lockdown, so I'm trying to make some fun content from my house. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!